Do you have to be a topper to be successful in life? Every year, lakhs of students sit for these entrance tests that they believe will determine the trajectory of their lives.
10th marks in real life for me, they matter to an extent which is...
We've got ChatGPT and we've got AI, kind of trying to educate people. So how do you see coaching classes competing with that?
As Mr. Narayan Murthy also said, AI will not kill the IT jobs, that will support.
Do parents, especially Indian parents or Asian parents, do they realize the pressure they're putting on their kids?
If you look at these success stories like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Indra Nui, and you can see none of them was IITs and IIMs, they have that different kind of attitude.
What is your take on, let's say, a UPSC versus a CAT?
Suddenly with our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar,
So do you believe that India should maybe go back to the Gurukul system?
the teachers are good. But when the commercial compulsions come, for one successful student, you have at least 3 to 4 who could not achieve that kind of success.
India probably has one of the most competitive exam cultures in the world. So your take is that one doesn't necessarily need coaching classes for
Not
UPSC.
at all.
India probably has one of the most competitive exam cultures in the world. Every year, lakhs of students sit for these entrance tests that they believe will determine the trajectory of their lives. But today, we are going to talk about much more than just the exam culture. We are going to talk about the psychology of toppers, the pressures that students face, the truth about coaching classes, and all the things that you will not find in textbooks or on the internet. Today, you're going to hear insights about exam preparation, mindset, and decision making from someone who has a career highest of 99.97 percentile on CAT. Pankaj Gandhi has spent over 2 decades in the system and is the founder of Pankaj Gandhi Academy in Pune, where he and his team mentor students appearing for competitive exams like CAT and GMAT. So if you're a student, a parent, or someone who's just curious about India's extremely competitive exam culture, today's episode is one you will not want to miss. But before we move on to Pankaj Gandhi, may I please request you to hit the subscribe button so that me and my team are motivated and we keep giving you content that inspires you to be the very best version of you. And now over to Pankaj Gandhi. Hi Pankaj, how are you?
Thank you, Sampada, for inviting me here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here. And I know it's a busy time. 10th exams have just got over. And, I want to ask, do the 10th exam marks really matter? Or is it only 12th and the competitive exams that matter? What is your opinion?
Look, in a way, everything matters. But in a marks obsessed Indian society, I think 10th marks in real life for me, they matter to an extent which is 0%, you can say.
Okay.
And the biggest problem with 10th marks is, like, let's say your child scores 95% in 10th, ICSE, CBSE, whichever board we're talking about. Parents start rating their child based on the performance in 10th exam. And I think this is the biggest killer. And the testing pattern, what we have got for 10th standard especially, which is totally flawed, means you solve same kind of questions, 10 practice questions, the 11th one, what you get in the exam is of same pattern. So the 10th marks 99, 98%, 90%, 70%, anything that hardly matters. What all matters is your real IQ.
Okay.
So, and this is the illusion. Parents start judging their child based on 10 marks. So I think it's totally obsolete. We need to change it. But we cannot change the pattern, how the exams are conducted. But at least parents, we can guide them.
All right. So let me ask you a question that came out of your answer, right? Are coaching classes there because our system has failed, our education system?
Look, system has not failed. We as a society, we have failed, right? So basically means coaching classes, why we have? First of all, parents do not have time. So earlier we had like parents could give time. Yeah. Now if parents want to teach also, that kids do not want to learn from their own parents.
Yeah.
So they need someone outside person to teach them.
Right.
And the mindset is that schools and colleges, they do not teach you well. So you need a coaching class. Means it's just like the government hospital system. Same doctor in government college, it does not work, government hospitals. But the same doctor outside in his private clinic, you will go and you will get his services being rendered to you, right? So basically it's a system. I don't think coaching classes are needed. But times, according to times, we need to keep on changing, and the things will keep on evolving. Now, many students are telling that even NCRT books are sufficient. The recorded videos are sufficient. There are many good videos on YouTube which are totally freely available. They are also sufficient. But it's a mindset which we have developed that a coaching class is needed to develop. So basically, I don't think coaching classes are needed at all.
Okay.
What is needed is a right guidance and a right mentoring. A right mentor or a guru is very important rather than the typical somebody else to teach you. Right.
Right. You mentioned that everything is available on YouTube, etc. So now we've gone one step ahead of that. Even we've got ChatGPT and we've got AI, kind of trying to educate people. So how do you see coaching classes competing with that, or what do you see them providing that AI cannot provide?
Look, coaching classes will keep on evolving until the time that parental obsession of marks is there. And anything that can help your child score more marks. So coaching classes will find out ways. Topper belongs to us. This is the percentage result we have got.
Okay.
And many coaching classes, like especially for 12th grade competitive exams, the selling point is if your child is not with us, he's missing out on something. We have those tricks, we have those shortcut techniques, we have something extra being done, and they will always find bias. So forget about AI, forget about anything.
Okay.
And books were always there. Coaching is a new phenomenon last 2, 3, 4 decades, right? Books were always there.
Yeah.
But even we had the shortcut notes, the IMP, so-called IMPs, teachers' notes. So like what they call old wine in new bottle. Something else, packaging will happen. Till the time that society does not change, parents do not change, this is coaching classes will always find bias. So.
All right. And like you personally, for your coaching class, how have you evolved in keeping with the times when ChatGPTs come and AIs come? Like, how has the teaching methodology
What we are facing right now is problem of plenty.
Okay.
There is so much which is available on internet.
Yeah, information.
And ChatGPT is there, everything is there, but I think this is giving new opportunities. Like as Mr. Narayan Murthy also said, AI will not kill the IT jobs, that will support. I think with even the teaching whole system, rather than just talking about coaching classes, the whole learning system, it will help everyone.
Yeah,
and
right.
the new challenges what we are facing, because students are using AI, they are losing out on their own skill development.
I agree. And
so even the verbal skills,
right,
oratory, writing, everything they will lose out on.
Right.
So finally will be required to teach them the basic English grammar and other things, right? So AI, what all, and it can give you answers, but at the same time, how to think, AI cannot teach you.
Right.
So for that, you need a mentor, right?
Right.
And for us, we have a very different kind of mindset when it comes to coaching. So we have that moral and ethical things which are deeply inside our mind. And anything that can help students, finally we do it in a professional manner. So we have to, our bread and butter comes from there.
Right.
But rather than showing the dreams, we believe in showing the reality and letting child know that the true potential where it lies. So analyzing the SWOT analysis is very important and guiding based on that. So we will always be there in the market and we will always be needed.
Always be needed. There's another thing you mentioned right now. So you mentioned something about aptitude. So how does a parent understand the aptitude of a child before they even begin to pressurize?
This is the most important question. And I think child's aptitude, parents are judging based on school marks.
Okay.
And that's where I talk about the faulty system. 10th, 99%, and we are talking at the right time. The results will be available after maybe 40, 50 days. And suddenly we'll come across people who say ICSE topper, 99%, 98%, and people judge, or the parents judge aptitude based on 10th marks. I think 10th marks you can judge is hard-working capability of a child.
Oh, okay.
How much effort the child can put in, and what all the typical rote method of learning, what all he mugs up, can he reproduce it in the exam? Beyond that, there is no aptitude IQ checking being done in 10th exam grades. So we have aptitude tests, like many aptitude testing centers are there. Even we do it for kids. So basically, you go to a professional who can actually check the aptitude, what we call IQ, the typical IQ grading. And there are various verbal skills, math skills, logical and analytical reasoning skills. Check that for a particular child. And that's how you can decide what is suitable career for the child.
And ideally, it should not be based on what the parent themselves like, right? Which is what happens, I think. to a
But
lot of
that's India, right? So many a times you want your unfulfilled dreams to be fulfilled by your kids. And this typical system wherein parents are supportive enough, but they have unrational expectations. You can do it. Like motivating is a different thing. And unnecessarily putting a burden on child. And there's a very thin line there. So parents sometimes say, okay, one more attempt of NEET, one more attempt of IIT-JEE. And we can see kids writing NEET 3 years, 4 years. Same for IIT-JEE. This is where something goes wrong. If you have a proper aptitude checking being done, it's very simple. And over there in Western world, we know before choosing the sport also parents look at, am I suitable for this particular sport?
Okay.
So like if you're going to play basketball, do you have that kind of physical attributes? Otherwise, imagine a 5 feet tall person thinking of playing basketball. Like skill sets are needed and they do it and then they decide the sport. Here parents decide, okay, I wanted to be a cricketer. So let my child become a cricketer, right? So this is totally wrong. Let the professionals do it. And then you can motivate your child. Okay, you're lacking here. I can support you. Finding tutors for weaker areas. But basically, you cannot change the aptitude of a child beyond a certain extent.
That's actually a really good answer and maybe something for all the parents to think about,
Badly needed.
About the pressures they put on kids. So, based on your answer, do parents, especially Indian parents or Asian parents, there are all these memes online about Asian parents, right? Do they realize the pressure they're putting on their kids?
Most of the times, I don't think they realize. Okay. And the typical way, like most of the parents I come across, they say like, we do not have any kind of pressure on the child. That's what they say. And they say like, we're very comfortable with what all result my child may get.
But that's not...
But at the same time, then they say, but why the result will go wrong? The typical pressure is anything can go wrong. We are okay with that. But why will the things go wrong? So means most of the times they do not realize. And when your society, like I think we do not like taking risk. This is the problem with India. Like maybe what all experiences of past generations are there. We want safety cover. And because we need safety cover, for parents, they feel education is the only safety cover. My child becomes engineer, my child becomes
Get
doctor.
A good job
it's a guarantee to a successful career, which is not. We know pretty well. But at the same time, we want it. And that's why the typical pressures are there. So the society, if it's all about like my child is an engineer or doctor, and sometimes they feel the pressures may work. They feel, okay, slight pressure is needed because my parents put pressure on me, I did, so even I should be doing it. But the times have changed. They do not realize it, right?
We've had previous conversations on this podcast where you're talking about, let's say Gen Z. They grew up in the time of the internet. And are they facing more pressure? And are we raising a generation of burnt out children because of this?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
On the face of it, we feel that they're pretty confident.
Yes.
What they say, typical, they call that chilled out and or like what all that cool guys and girls, but they are not. Look, even someone having the latest iPhone 17 Pro can totally hamper a child's confidence because my friend got the latest Apple 17, right?
Yeah.
So it's not only the marks, the fancy gadgets, like parental jobs, what their parents do based on, and this is the generation which is more bothered about what all kind of monetary or financial status the friends have, right? So it's not only about marks, many other things. It's not only about relationships also. They are definitely under a lot of burden, lot of, you can say, scrutiny. And like we can say communication is missing. Earlier we had joint families. The grandparents, the uncles, aunts and people could speak out.
Yeah.
But right now with nuclear families and hardly like one or two kids, most of the cases now we have got one kid, no siblings around. So I think opening up is becoming very difficult, and they are keeping, you can say, the reclusive attitude. They do not speak out even to their friends. They do not open up, and that's why we can see these kind of horrifying stories right now. And but if we talk only about the education, definitely it's more about the parental part, wherein they are not able to speak out. Chemistry I'm not able to manage, physics I'm not able to understand. And most of the times parents feel, okay, I have made him join the best tuition class. I have paid 4 lakh rupees, typical
Yeah, why isn't he doing
IITs
well?
and
Is she
NEET
doing
classes,
well?
they are about
Yeah.
4 lakh fees.
Yeah.
And many parents are spending that kind of money, assuming when I pay 4 lakh, there is a magical tool with these kind of coaching classes, and my child will top the exam after I pay 4 lakh.
Right.
So even the expectations on parents' part are very high, and they feel if I have paid money, if I have got ACs at home, if I'm paying the school college fees, and I have paid for that NEET or JEE class, mine work is done. And then they cannot take it or understand that my child is not able to understand. So this is where, and then the child does not speak out. The whole game continues for that 10th, 11th, 12th standard, and everything opens up after the results are out.
Oh, okay. So, Pankaj, you've dealt with literally thousands of students and their parents, and you have experienced, you've seen the cycle again and again and again. So, what would you, from your side, like to tell parents that please, reduce the stress? What advice would you like to give parents?
Look, I think parenting is a tough task. You do
Absolutely.
not scold your child. You pamper a lot, it does not work.
Okay.
You scold a lot, again does not work. So means nothing works, and there is no art of parenting. But at the same time, what they can say is communication is the key. What they say, a family which eats together, stays together, or that typical half an hour of dining time together. So if the child feels confident enough that I can go to my parents, at least one of the parents, mother or father, I can open up. If I do not have siblings, or if I have elder brother or sister, I can open up. If that kind of thing is done, and if they can give the confidence that, okay, you're not able to understand, it's not your fault. And people fail to understand that finally it's something the kids take up their parents' genes.
Yeah.
So what you could not enjoy in life, there are more than 50% chances your child will also not enjoy it, right? So unnecessary expectations, and what we saw is a tremendous financial growth in last 2-3 decades.
Yes. Yes.
IT industry,
Yes.
IT people did really well, and they were just at right place at right time.
Yes.
It's not the merit of that an individual that he is with Microsoft or Google or anywhere, just that they entered IT industry when the industry was booming. And parents suddenly start taking this success, which is partially based on the luck, destiny, and they start telling their kids that, okay, I have achieved so much. You are not able to do it. Parents forget it was luck. It's not my own merit. So, like many industries, people did phenomenally well. If you bought real estate at right time, even in Pune, 90s when IT industry was coming up in Hinjawadi and IT parks were coming up. So just few right decisions. Maybe you were destined, but your success should not be a burden for your child. And many a times it's happening that the success of parents is a burden on the child. You can say benchmarks are very high. And these expectations, child feels that my parents could achieve, I am not able to achieve. And the success stories say that the most celebrated success story right now, Sundar Pichai. He is not IIT AIR rank 1. He is
Okay.
IIT Kharagpur Metallurgy material science now they call engineer.
Really? Okay.
Means he is not topper of his batch.
Okay.
But without any guesses, he must be the best performer of his batch.
Right.
IIT Kharagpur metallurgy means he would have got somewhere rank in thousands, not AIR 1 or 2 or 3.
Okay.
Still parents insist that my child should be AIR 1, but at the same time that year's AIR 1, nobody knows what that AIR 1 of that batch is doing.
Right.
So we all understand. But at the same time, and the funniest part is, if you look at these success stories like Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Indra Nui, and you can see none of them was the batch topper of their times. But they are toppers. And second correlation is hobbies like reading, playing cricket, and some musical instrument that is common with all the three of them, right? So we fail to understand. अभी भी अपने पास वही चल रहा है जो पढ़ेगा लिखेगा बनेगा नवाब खेलोगे कूदोगे तो बनोगे खराब. So I think parents should think that okay, overall grooming and the mindset of that child is very, very important. If that child knows I can fail, my parents are there to support me, then I don't think the child will ever fail. So that insurance cover is needed,
Right.
that I must try.
Right.
And if I'm not able to understand, I should go and speak to my parents. That's what is needed.
Right. That is such good advice, because I also think teenagers are conflicted because of their hormones and other things. They anyway feel very misunderstood. So I think that's really good advice. And one of my questions was going to be, do you have to be a topper to be successful in life? But you just answered that. You already answered that.
So I think being a topper is a handicap.
Okay.
So blessed are the kids who have done average kind of things or above average kind of things during the school days. That typically in Hindi they call over with all of our families, they say nazar lag jati hai. Your topper, everyone is talking about you. Even in stock markets or players we say. Even the recent World Cup we were talking about Abhishek Sharma. And suddenly we know somebody else called Sanju comes up and he uses the opportunity. It's always the dark horses who do well rather than the academic toppers. AIR 1, 2, 3, they hog the limelight. And suddenly somebody who looks at them and determines that, okay, I have to prove it to the world. And they start putting in efforts. So if your child is not a school topper, you're blessed and the child is blessed.
Yeah.
So there is no correlation. All these success stories, they do not come with the toppers.
Right.
It does not mean you should not be a topper. Somebody told me that Sachin Tendulkar is a 12th fail.
Yes.
So if I want to be a successful cricketer, I should fail in 12th first. No, not necessarily, but it's perfectly fine, right?
So before this, we had another guest who I believe is known to you, Devina Mehra, and she had a very interesting take. She herself is from an IIM and a topper from an IIM, but she said she does not recruit from there, but she recruits from other B schools because she believes the toppers from there show that they're able to work hard. So what's your take on this obsession with, let's say, the IIMs? Do you believe that you see people getting disheartened if they don't get in there? What's your take on that?
Okay, I think I'll have the typical two ways of answering that question. First of all, Devina said that she's from IIM.
But she does not hire from there.
Yeah. And second part, like you did your MBA from Symbiosis.
I'm from Symbiosis.
And with extreme pride, we can say today HUL CEO, first time a woman CEO, and she's a Symbiosis pass out, right? So yes. So, and Symbiosis will always come in top 20.
Right.
Now, what we're talking about is you want to hire from the second and B schools because the attitude of the students is I want to perform. I want to prove I'm not from IIMs, but I want to be at par with IIMs. And the third, my observation, which I think I never spoke earlier or nobody talks about, earlier IITs and IIMs were the places you wanted to go, learn, and you use it as a launch pad. You wanted to study a lot. That was the beginning of your journey.
Okay.
Today, reaching IIMs and IITs has become a destination.
Yes.
So once you have reached there, you start feeling, okay, मैंने सब achieve कर लिया है. So this is the total wrong thing. What is happening is reaching IIMs, reaching IITs is a proxy to success. Parents start feeling, okay, now a crore rupee package, which is, we know not all the IITians get it. Less than 10% IITians and less than 10% of IIM batch gets a crore package. Most of them land up with 20, 30, 40 lakh kind of packages. So first of all, the crore package is illusion. And then comes like the main part of the answer is, because when you start feeling that I've reached somewhere,
Right.
that
You stop
desire
trying.
to perform, you
Yeah,
stop trying.
yeah.
And from the second run B schools or engineering grads, it is, I want to prove it to the world.
Right.
So that's why they say like all the great hirers, even Mark Zuckerberg was talking about, what I look at is raw talent, raw aptitude, raw intelligence, and even Sundar Pichai said is all about inquisitiveness. So as long as that problem solving aptitude is there and that ability to think beyond the obvious is there. So second run colleges, I think they have that feel, I want to prove.
Right.
IITs and IIMs, they have that different kind of attitude. They start
exactly,
feeling I'm God's gift, and that's where the problem starts. But it does not mean that IITs and IIMs have lost their charm. That will always be there. For her, it's a different thing. Maybe like she feels that, okay, they start feeling I need the typical investment banks, JP Morgans of the world and Merrill Lynch of the world. So it suits for somebody. But definitely, even if your child goes to, let's say, top 100, top 200 engineering colleges or law schools or anywhere, finally is the fighting spirit and the raw talent, which is very important.
Okay. Yeah, that's really insightful. We've spoken about the IIT IIMs. Now let's talk about some careers which are not in the corporate world. What is your take on, let's say, a UPSC versus a CAT?
UPSC is one thing which is closest to my heart.
Okay.
And this is the exam like I never appeared for.
Okay.
Management exams, CAT, I have appeared n number of times.
All right.
I train students for management exams like even the CLATs and IP Maths of the world. But UPSC is one thing that, especially in certain parts of India, we know North India like Bihar,
Yes.
Uttar Pradesh, they are
Rajasthan
so
also,
obsessed. Rajasthan. North part, they are obsessed with it. They, एक तो सरकारी नौकरी, and then you know that once you are a bureaucrat, nobody can remove you from the services. At the most, there will be a transfer. So it's very close to my heart. It's a wonderful, wonderful career option. Earlier we had like people used to do their IITs, IIMs, and then they used to go for civil services. Even few years back, we had someone, Maharashtra topper, Maharashtra cadre topper, and he's a BJ Medical College MBBS grad.
Really?
Yes. So
Okay.
means you can do law, you can do engineering, you can do anything, and you can take up UPSC.
Okay.
Or even you can just go for BA, BCom, and you can take up UPSC.
Okay.
Kids do not realize the importance that UPSC can help them to serve nation also. And suddenly with our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar,
I know.
he is role model for many of the students.
Okay.
So suddenly there is one more interest which is being generated. And then you have many of the failures around.
Okay.
Parents are, when you go to the parents, I want to try UPSC. Parents say, somebody from our neighborhood get. He tried. 6 years he wasted. He was there at Delhi, studied for 4 years, and then he realized he could not do it. So I think wrong examples around us, wherein suddenly you start feeling that somebody could not do it. That's why I will not be able to do it. But if somebody starts at the age of like immediately after 12th, from the first year of graduation, if you have a proper roadmap, UPSC is quite achievable target. Reading habits. One thing which is very common to IITians, the IIM aspirants and UPSC aspirants. The winners of life, reading habits. If reading habits are well in place, if you can write long answers, that to not using ChatGPT now. So you need to write essays properly. If you can express yourself, maybe in Marathi, Hindi, because you can use any medium of writing your answers. So if you have interest in history, geography, if you can read, you can write, I think UPSC is a proper career option. Check out a 2-year plan. And again, no coaching class needed. Because many a times you first join a coaching class, then after 1 year you realize that what they taught us was irrelevant. What the typical stage is there, learn, unlearn and relearn. And many students later on they realize that what was taught, it was redundant. The paper patterns are changing, especially the way UPSC General Studies or prelims is behaving these days now. It's totally unpredictable. So that's why when we talk of unpredictable papers, so Ratta will not work. You need to have that overall holistic development, and it's not about coaching classes. And there are some stories wherein they say UPSC chairman knows what coaching classes are teaching, and they put in exams what is not taught in the classes, the so-called popular ones. They say it, right?
Okay. So your take is that one doesn't necessarily need coaching classes for
Not
UPSC.
at all. Not at all. Right guidance is needed.
Right.
And I think for exam like UPSC, somebody you know who has cleared the exam in previous
Can
2-3
also
years,
help you.
they are the best guides.
Okay.
They can tell you, like they say in exams, even any of the graduations, once you are in second year, you can easily teach a first year child because you just did it recently.
Yeah,
you can
it's
say
fresh.
2 days mein how to manage it, right?
All right. So after UPSC, I want to talk about another career option. What do you think of defense as a career option?
You are an officer's daughter, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and that's so visible, like of these Fauji kids, they stand out in the crowd.
I like to believe so.
Yes. And Fauj pays well also. Now, most of the times what people feel कि पैसा कितना मिलता होगा and death हो जाएगी. But look, a normal Indian dies on the street, nobody cares. When you die for a cause, when you die for a nation, means it's a feeling which is totally different. So even not only about the death part, this is a misconception. And second part comes the money matters. Fauj pays you well. Army, Navy, all those career options, and nowadays like they're extremely well taken care of. And you can serve the nation. And what they say is yes, an officer for a lifetime. And even if you take retirement after that pensionable service of 15 years or 20 years, industry demands you. There are so many industry people who are ready to hire defense officers because they know this is the skill what they learned, which can be utilized for the industry. And if somebody thinks of defense as a career, I think joining NCC during the college days will be one advisable thing.
Okay.
So if you are a NCC cadet, it definitely helps. And somebody told me that the typical SSB interviews, even your father is one of them who guided me about that SSB process is not only about Fauj, is not only about the physical strength.
It's more about mental strength. Yes.
Many people like me also, I would have thought during my school days that, okay, I'm not gifted physically that well that, okay, I can go for a Fauj. So, but Fauj is all about, even like the SSB interview process, they look at your mental strength. Physical strength is important, but so even that misconception should be taken away. And it's a wonderful career option. And more kids should think of going for, be it Air Force ka FCAT or Combined Defense Services. And 25 is the age criteria.
Okay.
So you need to hurry up. Yeah. Unlike your UPSCs, which you can give up to 30 years of age.
All right.
Fauj ka 25 mein sab khatam ho jayega.
Well, 25 is still something. My dad joined at 16. He joined NDA at 16.
He started from NDA, right?
Yes, he started from NDA. Yeah, that was funny. Now that we are talking about early selection of professions, after 10th, what should a student choose? I mean, I know all parents are obsessed with science. I don't know why.
Look, science and this one thing, like, it's a thing that, okay, if your child is doing science, he's a gifted one. If you are doing arts or commerce, it's something that the child is not intelligent enough, he cannot cope up. These are long forgotten things. I think totally wrong. And now we can see parents and the kids are choosing law as a career.
Yeah.
With choice. They're extremely good with science.
Right.
They're extremely good, like they can manage physics, chemistry, they enjoy maths, and by choice they take up. And nowadays, even the course, like if you end up with National Law School, law as a career option is a wonderful career option. UPSC we discussed. When you have clearly chalked out plan that I want to go for UPSC, go for arts, humanities, study properly, enjoy it, and look what others think. Commerce, CA, CFA, all those career options, they are wonderful. Just that you decide in the beginning. And nowadays, even last year, IIM Bangalore launched a 4-year program which any graduate, science graduate is not necessarily, only that maths should be there in 12th standard.
Okay.
4-year program in data science, 4-year program in economics. We have got 5-year MBA programs from IIMs, what we call typically IP-MAT exam is there.
Okay.
These are wonderful career options.
All right.
So rather than, look, we are going for engineering, or most of the parents think of engineering or medical because they do not realize other options are there. And they do not know what kind of these options, career options they offer also. So science, first of all, taking up science and not enjoying. And many a times we see people do engineering without understanding anything out of the engineering. Just for the heck of it, they do engineering. They come out with flying colors and then they realize what I'm doing in actual industry is something else also. So we should look at engineering also as just a mere degree. So
Okay.
all the courses, BA, BCom, BScs and everything we should look at, it's a just degree. Some degrees are of 3 years. Engineering is a degree of 4 years. And finally, how you utilize it.
All right.
And especially if you know that I'm interested in management, I don't think you should be chasing science. If you enjoy science, you want that, okay, I have to do it engineering only, or I want to go for medicine only, then you need to go for that. Otherwise, after 10th, you can easily decide. And law, IP-MAT, these management career options, UPSC as a career option, and with new educational policy, I think even the engineering may not need in future science background.
Okay.
That you may do but this is what not yet to be it's yet to be implemented.
This you hear.
But with the new education policy, even it will be possible. But I will advise everyone to take maths in 12th.
All
Don't
right.
skip maths in 12th. That the phobia of maths, anybody can manage. You just need a proper guide, a proper teacher that who can develop that interest. During childhood, some of the students do not come across the best possible teachers. They develop that phobia of maths and they start feeling, mujhe maths nahi jamta hai. It's not that you cannot do it. It's just that you never explored it in a proper manner. So revisit the basics,
Okay.
but 12th may do not skip maths.
Okay.
Please keep it as a subject so that all the doors are open for you.
Okay, so that was going to be my question, that why are you saying that? But you just explained that maths would help you or probably enhance,
Yeah, those not only the commercial maths or competitive maths as a skill set, or even like because some courses will need maths, but as such they say that if you practice maths, the neuron network works.
Okay.
And this automatically improves your IQ, intelligence, thought process and everything.
All right.
Even like people think wrong, like when I say that mug up tables, or even in our India we have shloks, Sanskrit shloks are there. And every religion has it, something important which you mug up, which you practice and which you try and practice every day. And the science behind that is it helps you develop the network of neurons. Same is mathematical skills. So our ancestors were not wrong. They realized the importance that the tangible and intangible benefits of that. Maybe the concentration. Maybe it was more about mental peace. Multiple aspects it worked. So even any kind of shloks or any kind of mugging up of your religious things, that is important. Tables, the tables till at least 30, squares, cubes, everything. So that helps.
You mentioned our ancestors were not wrong, which brings me to my question. I have a lot of friends who kind of want their children to go back to nature or go back to a more old-fashioned system of learning. So do you believe that India should maybe go back to the Gurukul system?
Badly needed.
Really?
Yes, it's needed because look, nowadays most of the families, I think I'm sounding repetitive here.
Nuclear families.
Nuclear family is one child. And with a lot of pampering, the kid is raised with a lot of pampering. So kids are not habituated to listening to no. So the tantrums, other things, and parents most of the times do not bite the bullet. And then again they say good cop and the bad cop. Who will scold the child? Ma karegi ya bapu karega. So all those problems are there. And finally you need that. And as such, parents do not have much of the times these days raising the kids. So I think that system, that Gurukul system, 12 years of learning at Guru's place, which later on came as a boarding school in India. I think we need that wala going back to the nature, wherein one person you go to and you do not question. Nowadays what happens is child can go back home and tell my teacher is at fault. And sometimes parent will also say teacher ko kuch nahi aata. And then the monetary part. We have much more money than your teacher has. So we need one person wherein no questioning is being done.
Okay.
So, but you need gurus like Dronacharya for that.
Yes.
And we need Shishyas like Eklavya also for that.
Yes.
So, but if that is there and parents do not question, so that one person takes up the onus and the responsibility of raising that child, and that will do wonders. Unquestionably, if you are listening to one person, you know he is going to take care of my career. He will look at my strength. Even with 5 Pandavas, Dronacharya could decide that who will do what things, right? So let's go back to Gurukul system. But you need a guru like that also. Today, gurus have become professionals and extremely professional coaching classes. And then the teachers are good. But when the commercial compulsions come, that's where coaching classes go wrong. Anyone when he starts a coaching class is perfectly fine. Noble causes are there. But when commercial compulsions arise, the cutthroat competition comes, then comes all those, you can say manipulations and other things. So Gurukul system, even like many parents are thinking of, because you do not get good schools and they are costly also now. So education, you spend at least 1.5 to 2 lakh per child every year. Schooling. So many parents are thinking of open schooling now. NIO's board is there.
Right.
No schooling, the liberal education and all that.
Yes.
And then they can customize. I will send for hobby classes, my child will go here.
Right.
For mathematical tutoring, my child will go here.
Right.
Even that can be done. So it's a partial Gurukul kind of a thing. You find individual great gurus. But if we could go back to that school wherein one guru takes up 100, 200 students in his Gurukul, and after 12 years he delivers the product, right? Only for 1 month children go back to their home, and or even that 1 month may not come in between. Time to think about it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I wish that had been an option when I was going to school.
I wish I could start it and I can get the right students. Maybe it's ahead of time. The idea is ahead of time, but
maybe who knows?
Yes, it may. Tomorrow it may happen. Yes.
You also spoke about alternative systems of education. Again, I mentioned I have friends whose children go to a school where, let's say, they are taught in nature, or more emphasis is paid on other activities, not necessarily in book learning. And I have friends who are homeschooling their children also. So what is your take on this? Or if someone is teaching their children like this, what do you think they should make sure they do so that the children are not left behind when it comes to these competitive exams?
Yeah, right question. And here I would like to speak out something else. Homeschooling people, sometimes they start feeling open boards, NIOS especially, is meant for people who are academically weak. So this is one board wherein you can easily pass the exam.
Oh, okay.
Okay, means this is a society wherein people are so judgmental about others. So, okay, bacha weak hoega, that's why they have gone for open schooling, which is totally wrong.
Okay.
So that conception is totally itself is wrong.
Okay.
And you need to devote some time for the progress of the child. Like Gurukul system, abhi to we do not find anything around us, and even I may not start this year also. Tomorrow you never know. But a parent has to take up the responsibility, that weekly progress report, what you have done, because finally, even if you go, like one example was there 3-4 years back, we heard of a child after 5th standard he went for open schooling, and straightforward after 12th, the child went to MIT the world's #1 university, but they maintain all the transcript that every year what we did. Fifth standard mein what that child studied, sixth standard mein what that child studied. So progress report monitoring will be needed. The economic importance, like the academic importance, is not important because marks will not be there like 5th, 7th standard, but the progress report matters, what I did. And one more thing I would like to speak out is extracurricular activities.
Right.
Wherein one hobby for a child is very, very important, and don't cut down on their sports. Especially, it's not we're talking about the open schooling kids or homeschooling kids. Suddenly we see like most of the children come and they say, my parents stopped my sports activity after 8th and 9th standard. I stopped playing basketball, I stopped playing cricket. I wanted to play, but parents thought 2 hours a day, it's a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. We will see productive effects of that. So everything in material terms, this is what is wrong. So there are many intangible benefits of that. So sports activities, hobbies, the music or anything else, 2 to 3 hours a day for that, even 12th. And if you feel that your IIT or JEE or NEET preparation is a very grilling one, coaching industry has done it grilling because they want to deliver the results. So-called AIR 1 or 2 or 3 was mine. They are putting extra pressure on the kids and the parents. So 2-3 hours a day, I think we can easily take out from 5th standard till 12th standard.
Okay, that's good. That's good news for the students, and I think that's good advice from someone who's knowledgeable for the parents also. So, Pankaj, one thing you've mentioned reading consistently throughout this podcast, and I'm a reader myself. You know that, but why do you say reading is important?
Look, I studied in Marathi medium schools, and during my childhood, I may have read Marathi newspapers and Marathi kadambaris, what they call, and I fully enjoyed it. But now when I started realizing, like, for last 25 years, I'm training students, and when we look at like how it helps, all the competitive exams means beat CAT or any other exam, more than 50% weightage is around verbal skills. And when you read a lot, automatically your verbal skills, like whenever we see that somebody cracked IIM Ahmedabad and he reached there, or 340 out of 340, or let's say 330 out of 340 in GREs of the world, one thing which helped them is, and that's the undue advantage to somebody who reads. So means your reading speed improves. Your vocabulary is already there in place. And reading, that's what they say, is all about concentration. So these kids learn how to concentrate. So that is one thing, one aspect which we never realize, that knowingly or unknowingly our brain starts concentrating. We start believing in ourselves. We start, you can say, even daydreaming while reading. So many of the things which come associated with reading, the productive ideas which come, and all the success stories what I have seen in my last 25 years, major help came from reading habits. And then when I started asking these kids what happened, and typically it was 5th, 6th standard, you can say Famous 5, 8th, 9th standard, it was Harry Potter, and later on, if you can reach Ayn Rand, Fountainhead and other things, then you have achieved everything, right? Be it newspaper reading, now people say that I read blogs, but blogs is not a hardcore reading. We need to read something which forces us to concentrate. So it has to be typical, you can say, boring stuff, which initial days you will find boring, but the philosophy, psychology and all that you need to learn.
Nice. You know how many, so in 2.5 decades, right, in your profession, how many students do you think you must have mentored in 25 years?
It's a number which I never shared with anyone, but it's a huge number. And I take extreme pride. And most of the students, when they come and say that this happened because of you, and we know pretty well, if the success is because of us, then for one successful student, you have at least 3 to 4 who could not achieve that kind of success. So failure is also ours. But when somebody comes and tells you that you made a meaningful change in my life, even I have students who came to me for MBA entrance exams, but they never went for MBA. and they are doing so well in life. And when they come
Right.
and they say that I never did MBA, I could not crack CAT, I
Right.
could not reach in IIMs, but I'm doing extremely well in life because of what I learned here.
Nice.
So mine is all about teaching the life skills,
Right.
and it's not only about cracking the exams.
Okay.
And that is what helps them. And I think if a child starts feeling that I can do it, a right attitude, I think you have
Is-
achieved most of the stuff.
It is. So the reason I was asking that is, out of all the students that you've mentored, what can you pick out a common quality that all of them had? Do you think it's possible for you to identify?
Good listener
Okay.
and believe in yourself. And these are the kids who speak out help. They are ready to help others, which is a quality which is missing with
with a
the
lot of
so-called
people.
Gen Z, what we call now. But I think most of the kids who help others, they seek help from the others, and this is one quality I think which is missing nowadays. Even parents should encourage. Nowadays, people feel that somebody should not use me. If I'm nice to others, they will take me for granted, which is totally wrong. Group studies should be encouraged. Your weak point, my strong point, we complement each other. So group studies, sharing of the ideas. People feel मेरा idea चोरी हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं होगा. And knowledge is one thing which we know from childhood. If you share with others, it increases. And maybe by solving others' problem, you learn a lot.
And is there any one quality that kind of hinders the students or trips them up that also you found consistently? Any one quality that they should be
I
careful
think
about?
there are 2-3 things. A, overconfidence, which is I'm childhood topper. I belong to this kind of an influential family. This does not work. And all these competitive exams, they're humbling, right? It's a very humbling experience if you're going for CAT. Anything can go wrong at any time. School experiences, and like people come and they say that I did my college exams one day studies pay. No, these exams are different, and all the uncertain things happen here. Now coming back to the point, when you go in that vicious loop of not speaking out, okay, you are struggling somewhere, you are not able to understand the basics, and you do not speak out. You do not open up because of the fear of the peer pressure or what others will think, and you are never able to rise up again. So speak out. And a right mentor will always give you multiple opportunities. We saw Sanju Samson, what he said.
Yes, yes.
We celebrate these kind of stories, but in real life, when it goes wrong with us, we do not speak out. So life gives us a lot of chances. So the coaching classes, parents, and every time, even people feel that all these competitive exams, it's 2-3 years of preparation. No, even 1.5 year preparation is sufficient. And even let's say 3-4 months later on, you realize that I lost somewhere. Go and speak out that, okay, I could not do it. I want to restart.
Okay.
Take right help. And if you stop taking the help from others, you'll be lost out.
I think that's a really that's kind of good advice, that what they should watch out for and stay away from, and what can help them. And if you have anything, if let's say there's a 16-year-old watching this right now, right? Do you have any additional advice you want to give him? And he's feeling scared and anxious. Any additional advice you want to give him? Maybe something about mental health.
Mental health is a big issue, and I think it's not spoken out that well. And when you ask me about number of students I taught,
Yes.
but I will share, at least every year we come across one case, one child who desperately needs some help. And when we call up the parents, and they suddenly start feeling that, okay, because it's such a misconception that suddenly parents, first they do not agree that my child needs some help. And then it's all about that if I take him to the psychiatrist, and suddenly they will start giving him shocks only.
Oh God. Yeah.
So I think parents should know it's just one disorder, that's all. And with the kind of medical progresses we have got, with certain proper medicines and proper doses, it can be easily cured if it's at right time, diagnosed properly. But more than 10% of the population we know, I'm talking about the student population, they need some other sort of help. and you can say 1% which severely need that kind of help. And mental health issue is something which many people are trying to raise that kind of concern. People are putting in efforts that, but speaking out, children do not speak out. Parents do not want to accept that my child needs, and then they start feeling I do not put up the pressure. So why my child will have that kind of chemical locha? That's what they call.
Yeah.
But the pressure and not speaking out, that is what is there. We have spoken about it. And the advice part is again and again, it's speak out. Take help from right people. Do that bullying, if you feel that somebody is bullying me somewhere. Now this is one aspect which I never faced in my life. But nowadays kids complain of that.
Yeah, they do.
If you're facing any kind of bullying anywhere, go speak to your parents. If you are facing it at coaching classes, speak to the class teachers, but you need to speak out. And the moment you start feeling that I'm losing out, I'm not able to do it, it's not that you're not able to do it. Either you're meant for something else, you're at the wrong place, or you have not tried it in a proper manner. Basics are very important, and most of the kids, rather than understanding the basics, suddenly they start solving complex problems, and then they realize I am not able to do it, and you feel lost. So start with the basics, and you can come back 3 months, 4 months down the line, again you can come back. All these competitive exams, they just need 6, 8, 12 months of serious studies. So whenever you start feeling that something is wrong, now parents, what they feel, they measure studies based on number of hours the child is inside the room. What that child is doing, we do not know, right? And parents are happy. 12 hours, 14 hours in that locked room, my child was there. And children are also smart enough now, because they have lost the battle. You have one educational video which audio parents can listen from outside the room, and what they are doing, we do not know. And look, there is 4 to 6 hours of regular proper studies. So like it boils down again to the same thing again and again. Speak out. Parents should give that kind of comfort zone at home wherein you can go wrong somewhere and speak to your parents. I failed here. So that kind of confidence should be there. And parents should be understanding that I could not achieve everything in life. So it hardly matters, right? And all the success stories we have seen, they are not the academic toppers. So it's not about academic toppers. When you ask me, the question is about 16-year-old child.
Yes.
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
And every child has a unique quality. And luckily now society has changed so much, and so many career opportunities are there. So somebody is good at drawing, painting, singing, and this complete ecosystem of what they call influencer ecosystem.
Acting.
So yes, so who can say Sampada did MBA and suddenly she shifted the career and she's doing
worked
so
in
well,
Anderson,
right?
yeah.
Yes. So means, and your parents were supportive. That's what is there. So like means that support system, you need to find your support system somewhere. Your elder sibling, somebody parent, a guru somewhere. That's why I'm saying Gurukul system also is needed. One support pillar whom you can go to and speak out, and problems are solved. And tell yourself, if somebody else can do it, I can do it.
Alright, nice.
Maths is not that tough. Chemistry, once you finish 12th, you start realizing it's so easy. Chemistry is all about mugging up.
Okay.
Maths is all about basics. Once basics are in place, look, most of the best known teachers in the market, they do not know the real use of calculus, but they teach. And they do not know the real use of calculus, and they are so-called great teachers in the market. And so videos are available, other things are there, and sometimes you need to tell your brain that okay, these studies are just going to be there for 6 months, 8 months, and later on it will not be there.
Okay.
So things are pretty easy,
Alright.
and books are there.
Right. No, that's great advice, and thank you so much, Pankaj, for this.
A pleasure. It's thanks for the opportunity, and we're always there. Any kind of like when the question was, if you find nobody is there, we're always there to help you out, right? So.
When we started this podcast and I gave you the introduction, I promised you that we would have an insight and give you, the kind of awareness or the kind of information and answers that you do not find in textbooks or on the internet. And I hope we've managed to do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, because we promise to get you more content which will help you be the very best version of yourself. And Pankaj, before you go, we have a small gift for you. This is from Arkka Oils. And,
Thank you. Yes,
thank you for being here.
Yes.
And yes, take care.